Hello, welcome to the first episode of Skald's Tale Eclipse. Just a small amount of housekeeping before we jump right in. Skald's Tale is a brand that transcends all sorts of genres and all sorts of mediums, and we are happy to bring you this Pathfinder 2E campaign. We do want to take a moment to thank our partners, though. We do have our musical friends at Tabletop Audio who provide a lot of the background tracks. My friend Harry Scannell who provided our theme song, and we have some incidental tracks from battlebards.com. Additionally, we do use Gabriel Pickard for our map sets, and we do have a great relationship with TTRP Theater for letting us put on a show on their channel. If you have any questions for that, we can answer them through our Discord channel, which you can go down below, click on the TTRP Discord channel, and come meet the crew. Otherwise, roll credits. Bad things happen in darkness. What is unseen is perhaps the most scary. Often I look out into the darkness and wonder what terrors await me. I often wonder during those early days what would happen without the protection of the light, and what would happen to the world. It was a fateful day when the world turned dark, when the flock of ravens appeared to distract us from the true horrors that were to come. The day the sun turned dark, blocking our only protective shielding. I remember the day well. People were initially okay until the weight of the consequences sat in. When dark things began to arise and unexplainable phenomena happened. Chaos ensued and people pointed to the kings and queens for answers. However, this was only the start. Creatures that only can exist in darkness made their way to the public eye. Some with altruistic intentions and others with wicked plans. I am here to tell you the story of the day that the sun was taken from us and the ensuing weeks that followed. A story of heroes and villains that defined history. Please hear the story and hear the events that transpired during these foreboding times. For I have the true story, not the lies you may have heard. My name is Christopher Rondeau, and welcome to Skald's Tale Eclipse. Alrighty. Now I don't have visual. There we go. Hello. Doc, you are entering into the town of Duskenvale. This is a town that is on the border of the swamp and the rest of the world. Now, when we think of this place, it seems like it was meant to be a prominent area that's supposed to be a place for commerce and crossroads town. However, as you begin to walk into these buildings, you realize that it's really not. The town seems to be rather new, built within the last 500 years. A lot of these buildings have received updated architecture, but in reality, there's just sort of a somberness that goes here as people walk forward and just simply leave. This is a town that signifies a bleak civilization right before you enter the swamp. And when you exit the swamp, this is the first place of civilization you see, a brief place of respite. It is the month of Raksharan on the 42nd day, and summer is soon approaching you. We can feel the heat as many people around you can feel their clothes sticking onto their body as there's the natural sweat begins to come down from this oppressive heat wave. You are traveling from the west and heading to the east. just trying to explore. You are a wanderer, and we arrive at the Domino Inn. Why don't you describe your character?
Alrighty. Well, Mr. Holiday, aka Doc, is a halfling of quite tasteful fashion sense. He wears clothing that's from the Clockwork City and have been imported, or at least made to imitate such. Even if it's not authentic, as long as it looks fine, he's wearing it. Stands at I don't know if I ever actually wrote down his height.
Somewhere
At small height.
Somewhere between 2 feet and 8 feet.
Yes. Probably not on the 8 feet end of things, but definitely in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got blonde hair, blue eyes, a tanned skin from being out in the sun, and probably has a small pack of things with him. Doesn't look like he's carrying very much.
Cool.
Oh, and a holy symbol of Sol.
Yes, the holy symbol of the sun that has the pieces. So it'd be a metal symbol, has lines coming out of it that represent kind of heat waves, sort of ordeal. Sol being the god of the sun. Now, as you enter into Domino Inn, the first thing you get is just this wave of the smell of smoke. Breathing it in, it's almost intoxicating, especially if you're used to the clear days of travel, going into a composed area and getting this smell of tobacco might come to a shock of your system. And you are immediately met by a young woman, maybe 16 years of age, who is there waiting tables. And as you open the door and gather your bearings, she approaches you quickly. Looking past her, we see a interesting group of people. There are about 8 tables here. About half of them are filled up, and there seems to be a bard in the corner just playing some music on a viol de gamba. The music, you can tell that she is trying to create a jauntier atmosphere, but it's just simply not working. These people just don't care. It is lunch hour. And you are approached by this woman. Yes, would you like a seat? Would you like something to eat? Or are you here to get a room?
We'll start with the food, I think. Table for 1, please.
Oh, yes. Okay. And she leads you through, and we get a sense of the characters that are here. First and foremost, we do see a human bartender. He is just simply cleaning glasses, pouring drinks, seems to be working out of a notebook that you assume is the ledger. Seems to be in deep concentration, seemingly almost ignorant of your presence coming in. There is a striking similarity from this man to the server / waitress that you see.
Family business.
There is also a man. He kind of has one of those stereotypical wizarding hats that you would see in any sort of modern day context. It's slightly bent at the top. It is black, made from some sort of leather, and you can see a staff going right behind him. He is writing, reading, eating, just sort of keeping to himself. But across the table from him is a lizard folk. This might be the first time you've seen a lizard folk. You are from the desert. There is a couple there, but not terribly often. And there are a couple of what appears to be like sort of workers just kind of on their lunch break, sitting there drinking, talking, laughing. Most of the tobacco smoke is coming from them, as we can see a ashtray, that's the word, right in the center. And this 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 woman is really trying to create more of a jaunty tune, but there's an air of melancholy and fatigue coming from all the persona here, with the exception of maybe yourself, and the wizards just seems to be giving off a inquisitive vibe more.
Tone.
Yeah. Rather than a melancholy thing. But sit down. It's like, yes, we specialize in lizard, and we can get you a glass of ale, or we just got a shipment of red berry wine if you're interested in that.
Oh, what are your specials today?
Well, we are trying to create something unique. We call it a sandwich. What you can do is you can take a piece of sliced lizard, put it with some sauce and a slice of cheese, and you're golden.
Sounds revolutionary. I'll have one.
Nods. And as we begin to settle down, as people kind of look at you with interest, you are one of the shorter races. You're probably like a little uncomfortable. The tables are built for slightly taller people than a halfling. So while this is something you're probably used to, just sort of managing with height differences in table settings and chairs and that sort of thing, the three workers that are sitting at another table kind of give a slight snicker at you.
Oh, that's Doc isn't bothered by that in the least. In fact, if he has a drink in his hand, he'll probably smile to him and just give him a lift, and he seems perfectly content to let them have their fun.
Okay. You look over to, as you are served your food and whatever drink you decide to order, you look over to this bard in the corner, and she strikes you as slightly familiar. Why don't you either give me a society check or a history check, whatever's higher.
Oh boy, I think I have society. History is not a thing anymore, so I think we'll just go with society.
Yeah, right. Lore checks is what it is.
Funny, I'm trained in this, but my int is horrible.
She's definitely familiar. You may have heard rumors of her, or perhaps you've seen her around. Just can't quite pinpoint it. But she begins to sing a tune. She gave up on trying to get the jaunty aspect and just kind of settled into the mood of the room, and she tells the story about, she calls it the Song of Her People, and she sings it, and she talks about the day that everything kind of goes away, and there's a lot of allegories about the world ending, and that we must prepare for it, and tells something about the some event called the Night of the Black Sun. And she sings this tune, and you begin to finish your meal, and yeah, the waitress will come over. It's like, is that all?
For now, but would you happen to know what the local going-ons are? Any news from the major cities?
Well, there are some things. We are missing a shipment from the city of Kulor. We are actually expecting some ale to be shipped in from Kulor, coming from the Kingdom of Blackwater, and that's about 3 days late. And talk to my father there, Dragon. He will tell you all that frustration. We hear about it every morning and every evening. But the most interesting thing is that there was a fire recently. Are you there? Yeah, I don't know which direction you walked in from, but if you head I'm directionally challenged. Head east of us. You can see the rubble. It was the diplomat's place. You know, whenever we have a people coming to stay here, they get housed up at the diplomat's house, and for some reason that was taken, or that was burned down, and you know, it's hard to say why or whatnot. The guards think that they got a visual of some people, but there is nothing to give evidence for it. There doesn't seem to be any reason for it. We don't have any diplomats coming that I'm aware of. Though,
Well, I hope nobody was injured.
not that I'm aware of.
Well, that is most good to hear.
I mean, it's good business for us because now we received a missive from Eric Akalos, the warden here, and we are housing a diplomat from the Kingdom of Long. Should be here any minute. So I guess it makes us a little bit of money, but we don't get that. We're not getting that high quality ale from Kolor. So how much money are we really making?
I suppose it can be a glass half full or glass half empty situation, depending on how you wish to look at it. Either way, it was fortunate that, despite the fire, no one died or was seriously injured, I take it. What manner of building was it that burned down? Oh, you said it was the...
It was a diplomat's house.
Diplomats.
It
Right,
normally
yes.
it normally has servants in there, but it was as if they were cleared away before the building was set on fire. It's very unusual. Eric Akalos employs a couple people to clean the area, make the food, do that sort of thing for any diplomat that may come. Not 100% sure what happened, but most people just think it's just another fire.
Well, far be it for me to make any sort of assumptions. I've only just got here. Speaking of, it has been quite the travel. How much are your rooms?
Well, our best room is being saved for the diplomat who will be here shortly, but we normally charge 2 silver pieces for a room and some breakfast the next morning.
A fair price. He'll fish around in his jacket and withdraw 2 silver coins and hand it to the woman.
Yes, thank you. If you have any questions, you can talk to me or my father here. We are here all day. And she takes the coins and kind of whisks stuff away. And as she does this, the door opens again as we see another halfling walk in, about 3'4". He is seemingly just in simple traveling leathers, not like armor leathers, just simple clothes. He does have a staff on his in his hand and a sword on his back, as well as a small pack, and he just seems to be walking slowly. And the only thing that really keeps him as unique is that over his left eye there is a tattoo on it. There's a tattoo of some sort of serpent, but you would recognize this being a cleric as the holy symbol of Siren,
Which is the god of the dead?
Siren is one of the dragon deities. She doesn't really have a domain. She and Raksha, the platinum dragon, sort of rule the natural plane and act as protectors.
That's right.
But they don't have. They're not like Soul, who represents the sun and like protection and that sort of thing, or Mephisto that represents ambition. But he goes there, and your person who was serving you immediately changes attitude. She tries to straighten up, like readjust her shirt, and walks over and goes, you're early. Uh, welcome to Domino Inn. We have your room set for you, but would you like a meal? Well, looks at the people around, makes eye contact with you and everyone else in the room who's looking over. I guess a quick meal wouldn't hurt. And he takes very, very deliberate and slow steps. Takes a seat at a corner table, sits by himself, and he seems to be looking at every single person in the room very, very deeply. Just observing their movements and listening to the conversation and hearing the jokes that are said, maybe even chuckling a couple times at the conversation. Beyond his tattoo, he does have long black hair tied up into a ponytail that goes pretty low down his back, just right below his shoulder blades. His sword that he has a hilt in the pommel. We'll go with the pommel. That's the right word. In the pommel there is a yellow gem within it, and he just seems to just be observing it. Like, most people you meet aren't that inquisitive. We are in, dumb people age where most people can't read, let alone have the ability to observe.
Honestly, Doc probably wouldn't pay him too much mind after he sits down. He probably would have just, acknowledged what this guy was all about, but like the workers who were having their jabs at him, he doesn't care to pay them too much mind.
Okay. So, he is served food, this sandwich that we have invented. And why don't you go ahead and perceive for me?
A not bad roll.
Yeah, as you begin to kind of sit down and he takes priority. It seems like they're serving him first, but after about 5 minutes or so, we get a visual of a flock of ravens. They seem to be moving east. And it doesn't strike you as too odd, except that it's not necessarily the time of year for that. We are going into summer. They should not be traveling in this sort of formation at the moment.
Well, that's interesting.
They're also traveling a little slower than you would expect.
Auspicious. Doc would probably just observe if he could.
Okay, you are in the building and you are getting glimpse of it from the inside. You can leave the building, or you're gonna try to observe from a window.
What sort of? You said they were flying in a formation or a shape.
Mm-hmm.
What is that formation?
So, I know the English language. I am a master's degree student. I know the shape I'm thinking of. It is a shape. It does exist.
Dodecahedron.
Uh, Diamond. It's in a diamond shape.
Ah.
So we have the going to the point, and then it kind of has the back end, and it fills in between. Like the in between is not necessarily filled to complete symmetry, but we still get to see that.
I mean, the diamond's not the strangest shape for a bird to be flying in. I mean, half of that shape is pretty natural. It's kind of, I guess it would be a little strange to see them cave back in, but Doc probably doesn't think it's worth leaving the building for.
Okay, sounds good. So, you take a look outside for a brief moment as these creatures begin to travel east, and from where you are, you can see the rubble that is in a pile not too far off of the diplomat's house. And as you sort of take a look at all of this, we see the ravens begin to go in a clockwise motion, seemingly circling something to the east. There are a couple people outside that are moving towards it at the moment.
That's strange. Have I been served my sandwich yet?
Yeah, so we'll assume this is towards the end of your meal.
Okay. I'll take the rest of my sandwich outside with me then.
Okay.
See what all this is about.
Ravens begin to circle, and no one's really getting too close. But if we look at this map, the further east you go, there's these small marshland trees in the distance, and they seem to be circling that area.
I see. How many are there?
Raven-wise or people?
Raven-wise.
Between like 25 and 30, based on kind of your visual count.
That's a lot.
Yeah. A swarm, you might say.
Well, we are near this road. So perhaps if the birds seem like, if Doc will stand there for like 5 minutes, just kind of observing, and if they continue to swirl, he'll probably just kind of walk down the road that's next to the Domino Inn.
Okay. So the first thing you see will be the burnt down rubble of the diplomat's house. It's long been burnt down. No signs of embers or cinder or anything like that. It seems like some of it has begun to be cleared away, but not very much. Most people are gathering somewhere over here, kind of observing from a distance. A couple of people are going to this house here. No one seems to be entering the forest yet.
Okay.
Continuing?
Yes.
Okay.
Continuing.
So at this point you walk by the house near the forest, and you see some water there. There are people gathering around it, but you know, whatever they're circling over here, if it's like some sort of prey, can't really tell what it is.
Can I perceive to tell if they're like stalking something that's alive, or do I hear any large movement or groaning of something dying?
I'll give you perceive for this, sure. So you don't hear anything. You don't see anything amongst some of the water and the trees, but they are circling.
Any guards nearby?
So since you've entered the town, you haven't seen any armored folk around here. The closest thing to a fighting type probably would have been that wizard you saw, but there doesn't seem to be any guards.
No militia.
Yeah, at least if there are, they haven't got here quite yet. He's choking. He's dying.
No, I gotta fix my chair every once in a while. Doc would probably wait for someone more official to show up for this. He's not very nature inclined, you see.
Okay.
Or he'll wait for something further to develop. Whatever comes first.
Okay. You do spot somebody who is wearing armor, kind of stalking the swamplands, but you also get a glint of something metal out of the corner of your eye. Just something with the sun pushing down or pointing down, kind of catches a glint.
Can I locate where this glimpse was?
Yes. Now,
do I get a better idea of what was glinting?
Metal?
Metal.
Is that a
big
is that
metal,
a
small metal,
is that a lame answer?
shiny metal, dull metal?
Shiny metal. The glint wasn't terribly big, so it was probably something from maybe hand size. No bigger than that for sure. But it's also probably not from a coin per se.
Okay. It's bigger than a coin, smaller than a hand. Where is it? Like, how far off the beaten path is it?
60 feet. You can get there in a quick jog.
Might as well go see what's good.
Okay. And we begin to approach this thing, and what you see is a body. She seems to have some weapons on her belt. We see deep red handprints around the throat, and a wound of some sort that's festering.
Oh my.
And you suddenly hear a gasp as she shoots up, seemingly awake. Misty, why don't you describe your character?
She is definitely a human. She has black hair, but the ends of the hair are quite gray. There is a long tattoo over her cheek. She's wearing leather clothes, but they seem to be a bit torn here and there. They're old, have been worn for a while. She also wears leather gloves, and as mentioned, she definitely has markings on her neck.
So, you see here, she, like, her parts of her clothing seems to be in pretty bad condition. The smell is not friendly. We'll put it that way. Not friendly smell. And you can see the wounds. And the wound that was on her shoulder, this festering thing, like, it is deeply infected. It's and it seems the infection seems to have spread to a lot of the arm as well.
Well, Doc didn't exactly have time to go and confirm that was a dead body, but it sure did look dead when he was coming up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably is quite startled when Misty arises from her sleeping.
Okay. So we'll pause there for a second. Mel, you are sort of like a caretaker of the marshlands. just making sure that only you can prevent forest fires, sort of deal. And you have been escorting a guard from the the city of Cooler. His job is to come here. There have been some disturbances within the swamp itself. Something about Shadowland's energy. Just, it's probably just some. I was gonna call it a misdemeanor, but that was the bad choice of words. Some misdemeanor, superstitions. Probably some superstition, but he was sent out. He's probably a little grouchy about it. And upon seeing the ravens, you have went out to the swamp, and he's there with you, maybe about 50 feet there. But as you were investigating, he did not seem like let's rephrase that. He is with you probably because this is part of his investigation. Ooh, Raven circling, must be something weird. But you and your... This is why I like podcasts, because I can edit out my word fumbles. You and this soldier witnesses this halfling on the street. Kind of go in there, and you see a woman kind of jump up from the ground, and even from the distance, you are very perceptive, Mel. You can see the red marks on the throats. Looks a little suspicious. A halfling walking over to a woman, hand marks on the throat. Clearly, like, they're not fighting each other right now, but it seems a little odd. But Mel, why don't you describe your character real quick?
Okay. Mel is wearing a green hood, and you can see little brown curls that come out of the hood, and under it you can kind of make out the shape of large muscles. She's pretty tall. She's human. And she looks slightly slouched over, like she's prepared to pounce at any moment should something happen. But her expression, it kind of contrasts that. She actually looks friendly, like she smiles and she has these bright eyes. Yep.
Cool. And you are escorting a guard from the Kingdom of Kolor. Remind me of this character's name, Lawrence.
I believe we went with Machias.
Machias.
Yes. Machias is a temporary NPC character, so I don't particularly care what he looks like.
So generic human male. Perfect.
Yep, that works. Average in every single conceivable way.
just like me.
And is wearing a red tabard.
A red tabard. No symbol, just a red tabard.
Just a red tabard.
All right. He is equipped with a bow, a composite longbow, I believe, as well as a sword on his hip, and a quiver of arrows. Red shirt. Oh no. And both of you observe this halfling going there. So,
Hello, what do we have here? Stop right there, you criminal scum! And I go charging after the halfling standing over top of the unconscious lady.
Oh, guess we're going over here now. Okay.
All right.
He's a guard. There's an unconscious lady. It fits.
So you guys begin to kind of transverse through that marshland, and I think Doc can kind of see them out of the peripheral. Perhaps you heard the statement as well, but let's pick it up with Doc and Misty, and then I will have them tell you when they are introduced.
Okay.
What would you like to do? Seeing this woman now pop up. Both of you guys, what would you like to do?
Well, Doc is quite startled seeing this woman come back to life, and is probably his most immediate thought goes to his obvious occupation. He goes, "My dear, are you okay? I thought you were dead. You certainly look worse for wear."
I'm not. I'm all right. It's just hurts, but shh. I would like to try, like, kind of listen, because probably I'm not seeing the guards coming, and I was too, like, startled myself to hear them shout. But I would like to try and listen if I hear any footsteps nearby, like especially behind me. Not looking, but just hearing.
Cool. So go ahead and roll perceive. It's on the right side of your character sheet.
Perceive. Okay.
Yeah. So you can definitely hear people maybe about 150 feet. Are you on the Imperial system or the metric system? Are you familiar with the Imperial system?
I know what meters and kilometers are.
Okay. Well, 15 meters, I think. We'll go.
Very close.
We'll go with that until I'll make a note to make sure.
Feet, ain't it?
So a meter's 3 feet.
So 15 meters would be 45 feet.
Oh, 45, 48 meters. I can't count past 4. Music major.
Well, approximately.
Okay. I'll make sure I make a note of that for next time. But you can hear the sounds of movement coming that way, and you can, as you do this, you begin to hear the ravens begin to crow, and Doc can hear that as well. The ravens just begin to have an oppressive sound.
Damn, we have to go. And I try to, with my, like, healthy arm, to kind of push a little bit down Doc, and also, like, a little bit, like, with me. I try to stand up and go to the, like, basically run to perhaps nearest, like, hideout of sort, like bush or tree or anything.
Sure.
Doc is like, here's the shout of the guard, shouts of the raven, and now this woman's like, we gotta go. He's like, are you? Maybe we should. Well, okay. And we'll follow her to whatever hidey hole she has chosen.
Okay. We will say that's when you hear Machias' statement. So Machias will say has already made visual contact to both of you. What would you like to do?
Oh, sorry.
Are they're running away? You're saying now?
Yes. That was at least. Is Doc running with her?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, they are running away.
He's running with her. All right. Machias
She's leading.
Machias would at that point go. Let me. Oh, she's leading. Okay. Oh, now she's trying to run away, and he's giving chase. I'm going to turn to
We have to
Mel.
help her.
I agree. Let's get to it. And Machias is going to pick up his pace and run as hard as he can. I say there, you better stop. I might give you what for.
Everyone perceive for me, please.
I perceive so good. It's almost as high as it could be for me.
All of you perceive pretty well. So pretty suddenly, we can see these ravens begin to crow at you guys as you guys begin to give chase or begin to have this kind of chase scene, Benny Hill style. And we look up, see them moving in a circular motion, and then we see what appears to be darkness. We lose visual on many of the surroundings. We have what feels like the absence of lights kind of come over suddenly. Both of you guys, all four of you guys, take a moment to look at the sun, trying to figure out where that oppressive light went to, and we see the eclipse happen. And upon seeing that eclipse, everyone rolled pretty high. We also began to see, not too far from us, what was a burrow of some sort of underground network that arrived. We began to see these large set of bats immediately kind of flush out of this cave. And they kind of begin to scurry around this forest. Many people that are outside the forest, you can hear their talking, murmurings, trying to figure out what is going on, but there is a full eclipse that came suddenly and is not going away. Misty, let's have you roll a fortitude save.
Is that just a fortitude, right?
Yeah, so under saving throws, just click on the word fortitude.
Nice.
Right, so she has this arrow wound. What is it, your right shoulder? She has this arrow wound, and from Doc's perspective, we see the arm kind of begin to glow a white color. We can feel that there is energy coming off her, just emanating this power source, this divine power source, as well as the sort of the visual aspect of it. To Misty's perspective, it just hurts like hell. So it feels like, not that I personally have experienced this, so this is very, very much on speculation, but it feels like someone's cauterizing the wound. So you are able to keep conscious. That's what the fortitude save was for. But I think for a brief moment at least, you're slowing down from the chase. From Mel and Macias' point of view, we see a bright light, but that's it. You guys are not magically inclined, so you don't feel the divine power source at all. But we see the bright light for a brief moment, and then we see the immediate darkness of the sun, seemingly happening, within seconds of each other. What would you like to do?
Do we catch up to them?
Yeah, that's an important question. Have we caught up to him?
I think Misty will be slowed if she wants to keep running, and Doc's a halfling, so you'll probably catch up to them fairly quick. Itty bitty legs.
I move at 25 feet, I'll have you know.
So they're moving at about 50 feet around. We're moving about 60 feet around. So we're catching up pretty quickly, but not quite there yet then?
Let's just streamline this and say you guys catch up.
Okay. All right there, young one. What you do to the sky then? And what you do to her?
Me? What makes you believe I have anything to do with either of them?
You look the shifty sort you do.
That's
She was laying on the
racist.
ground and you
You
walked
sir
up
are
to
a
her.
bigot.
How
I'm saying
dare
just because I'm a halfling, I seem what makes you think I can turn the sky dark? I'm a cleric of soul, he says, picking up his holy symbol off
His
of
holy
his chest.
symbol, yeah. Oh,
This is the exact opposite of what I do.
oh. Sorry about that. It's just, well, it looked a little questionable. I saw her laying there on the ground, and then there you were, looming over her.
I found her moments ago. Mere moments before you found me.
Let's pause this real quick. Misty, there is a person in a red tabard and in a guard outfit having a conversation with your halfling acquaintance. I can't imagine you wanting to stick around.
No, but is it still hers the same?
It's manageable, so you still have your facilities.
Okay. Though I don't think that I will manage to like run away. If I will run away, I will sound suspicious, like look suspicious as well, perhaps. Like that's my thinking.
Mhm.
So when I hear their conversation, I would kind of like still holding my, painful arm. I would say, he's absolutely lying.
Doc is just like, you son of a...
All right.
I'll have you know she was a corpse a moment ago.
All right.
How's that even possible? He's clearly insane.
All right. I think at this point, let's see. What kind of skill would you roll to sense motive? It doesn't look like they have sense motive anymore. So, let's see, deception, diplomacy, intimidate.
Let's see.
That's a good question, isn't it? What skill?
I think there's like an actual action.
Yeah,
for
sense motive
sensing a motive.
is an action.
Okay.
So, you roll perception, I guess, against sense motive.
Perception.
Alright, perception against diplomacy. A sense motive, you try to tell whether a creature's behavior is abnormal, choose one creature, you assess blah 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 blah. We have a contest. We're going to do a contest. Normally it's against a hidden DC, but we'll have Misty roll deception, and
Actually, I'm thinking of perceiving the cleric. He's gonna size up whether the cleric is telling the truth, if that's okay.
sure. We'll have. I'll give you a DC. Go ahead and roll perception.
Oh no! Oh no!
This woman seems to be. This woman seems to be very, very hurt. And this man is not giving you any indication that he is in the right.
I also have no visible weapon on me either.
Okay.
Let's go to
Alright.
let's cut to Mel real quick. Mel, as they're having this conversation, probably you were trying to determine the situation as well, trying to get a feel for it. We saw these bats leave this burrow, and these bats kind of also follow this clockwise motion that the ravens were having earlier. And at this point, you can see them be taking in a smaller space and beginning to head towards your direction. They are large creatures, and there's about 30 of them. 30 of them. there are 2 creatures, so 60 of them total. I got my degree in music. Can't count past 4. Can you guys control your tokens on the map?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and put you guys here. Those music major struggles. I have my my master's degree in English, so that didn't help me as well. So Mel can see these creatures seemingly coming towards them, and very, very unusual behavior. You are very familiar with the marshlands. If you were level 2, you would have gotten this as your favorite terrain. And you know, you've seen this burrow, you've seen bats before. They are almost extremely unusual. We'll just go with extremely unusual. What would you like to do?
She'll point him out and look, turn to the others and say, "Sorry to interrupt, but we have incoming."
Incoming. Let's go ahead and roll initiative. So for many of you,
I am not sure. I'm sorry, but I have +2 circumstances bonus to initiative rolls. Do I
Correct.
have to add it somehow, or?
no, so go ahead and roll it, and we'll add it after you roll it. So go ahead and click the initiative button. So we will take that to a 24 for you.
No, it looks like one of the turn order API already broke off.
I might have cleared it without thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because music major. We're gonna use that as my ongoing excuse. My ongoing just a dum-dum. So, Misty, your first act. Now you're new to Pathfinder 2E, so we'll walk you through this. You do get 3 actions per turn. Each turn is about 6 seconds. So you do have a list of abilities you can do. Most prominently, you do have a dagger and a crossbow. And cinematically, you can decide if you want to use any of your other skills. However, as you are beginning to enter this combat, your wound on your right shoulder, you can feel it healing itself. The pain begins to subside and actually feels a little stronger. When you take a brief glance to it on your right shoulder, we're not seeing any red scarring or any of that. We are seeing some sort of black on it, as if you were inked or tattooed. However, due to clothing primarily, you can't really see that visual. But we are starting with you. Most common actions are going to be to strike, which is shoot your weapon, to stride, to walk around, or there are some action economies for your other abilities on your spellcasting list if you want to use those.
All right. I guess I would like to hide. That would be my action.
Sure. So we can. So the main thing is that you need to get into a circumstance to hide. So if you wanted to say get behind this tree, you can go ahead and use one action to stride and one action to use the hide action as well. So 1 stride, which is your movement, and then 1 hide. So you can go ahead and roll stealth. Pretty good. Wow. Those are two very, very extreme numbers. You do have one more action, which you can choose to try to strike, or you can ready an action for something to happen, or anything like that.
Is there a possibility to hold my action till something happens? Does this a thing exist?
Correct. You can ready one of your actions and then spend your reaction to do your readied action, if you want to.
I want to. Do I need to define what exactly a moment I'm waiting for?
Let's say yes. So, what you have to ready what you're going to do.
Okay.
You are aiming your crossbow to fire it. You are preparing to cast the spell. Those sort of things.
I think that it would be kind of in character, right? If I will see that the bats are coming at me, like attacking me, I would make the price of my hand in because of the way my character is. I think that she would by accident cast shield, if
Okay.
that's possible, like to protect herself.
Yeah, I like it. So you prepare that, and we'll see if you need it. Cool.
Yeah.
Macias.
Yes. Let's see. So, in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you have 3 actions, and those actions can be basically any actions you want to take.
Correct. You can take 3 strikes. You can take 3 strikes. You can take 3 strides. Certain. I didn't design your character to have any skill actions. Your character's pretty straightforward. But those are pretty much your 2 actions for your specific character at the moment.
Okay.
You do have a cool thing called exacting strike.
Okay.
So that will replace your normal strike ability. But it's up to you how you want to do it.
And how exactly does exacting the strike work in this case?
If you miss, you do not take a multiple attack penalty.
Right.
So for you, if you hit with 1 attack and you make your second attack, you'll do it at -5. However, if you miss, you don't incur that -5. Where
Okay.
if Doc was to do that, he would have it.
Gotcha. All right. Is there such a thing as free action? Am I able to have a short quip while
Yeah.
I'm?
You specifically are always allowed to have a short quip.
Okay. Okay. So as my character pulls out his bow to turn around and face the bats, he's going to say to this halfling, "I'll deal with you later, Pally. Just watch and see how deadly I am. Then you'll think twice." And I guess he's gonna shoot. I've got 3 different buttons here to press. I guess this one. Do I shoot that one? Okay, there we go.
Which one do you hit?
I am aiming for this feller. This feller over here.
Okay, shooting over Mel, you are able to send an arrow towards the swarm of bats.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll damage.
I guess that's
Nice. So, you send a weapon into a swarm of bats. You do hit a bat. 1 bat goes down. However, the swarm still seems pretty functional.
all right. And was pulling the bow 1 action?
Shooting was 1 action, yes.
Shooting was one action. All right.
Yeah. We do not have any load requirements for bows.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
you don't
so-
have to have like fast reload or anything like that?
Not for bows. It technically, I'm going to assume you had your bow out, but it also would have been an action to pull out your bow. But we're not going to worry about that.
Okay.
You guys had enough time to prepare for this with your
right.
quips.
So my second action is I'm gonna move. Oh, I can't go that far. So I guess I'll move to here instead. So ignore that second diagonal move because that would have been 35 feet apparently. So instead I just go from here to here.
Sure.
And then my third action will be, since I'm still not within melee, to fire again.
So you are taking a -5, which will still hit. This time you take down 2 bats. It's very impressive. 1 arrow, 2 bats.
Nice. Are you sweating yet, Doc?
Oh yes, absolutely petrified. Just keep doing what you're doing.
This is where Doc runs away.
Yes, jolly good show, and I will be in town. Goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye.
This bat swarm is going to charge towards Macias, taking 2 stride actions to get here. It is going to use its blood feast. Nom 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 nom. There's my sound effects.
Oh no! The red shirt.
You are going to take 1d4 piercing damage, and I need a reflex save, please.
Saving throws, reflex.
Okay, so you are fine, but go ahead and take 3 piercing damage as this swarm of bats begin to circle you and nibble on your toe. It hurts very badly. Like stepping on a Lego.
HP.
Right side of the character sheet. This one is going to stride twice. This one will stride 3 times and will move itself here. However, Mel is surrounded by this group of bats. They haven't started nibbling at your fingertips yet. This will take us to Doc. Hello, Doc.
Hello. Doc will first stride away from this nonsense.
Okay, no reactions.
Damn straight. They are a swarm.
Right.
I'd be very surprised if they got a reaction. And for my next 2 actions, you know what? I'll try this Divine Lance using lawful damage to try and damage the swarm.
How does that look like? You do hit.
I guess the spear kind of just looks like light, but the way it's materialized is almost like it building blocks into existence. Like it unfolded into my hand and then whoosh.
Nice.
Nice. Cool. So, with this lance, with Macias' back turn, you take out like 10 of them.
It's awesome.
This is radiant damage or lawful damage. All right.
Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. End turn.
Yep, that's it. That's 3 actions.
Nice. Mel.
Right. Mel would have prepared her short sword and hatchet.
Sure.
And she's just gonna strike at the bats that are swarming around her.
Cool. Do you mind if since I made the character, I know the character, do you mind if I give you some suggestions?
Sure.
It's cool. So you get something called Hunt Prey as a ranger. Hunt Prey means you can designate one person as your prey, and it gives you some bonuses.
Yeah, I saw that, but really when it comes to attacking, that only matters for ranged attacks. So since I'm in melee, I didn't want to waste the action.
Yeah, so if you hold on. If you use there should be something called can't find your sheet, I apologize. It should be some Hunter's Edge. You can do Hunt Prey. When you do Hunt Prey on the target, you get a devastating flurry of attacks upon your prey. Which basically reduces the disadvantage of the multiple attack penalty.
Alright, then she'll use her first action to hunt prey bats. Vampire bats.
Vampire bats. Okay.
And then she'll use her second 2 actions for striking.
Got it. Go ahead and roll. Got it. So 21 will hit. However, the 13 will miss. So, it would be your second attack, so we'd minus that by 2. So 19 will still hit. So, taking your thing, you're able to cleanly saw through a handful of bats. It will take some damage here, and they're not looking terribly happy. As happy as a swarm of bats can look, I guess. I need to work on these descriptors. Nice. Anything else?
That's all my actions, I believe, right?
Okay, cool. Misty, you are up. You seem to not be the focus.
That's great. Do I see that Doc is also withdrawing, like getting a little bit further away?
He backed up. I don't know if I would consider it withdrawing, because he did attack.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to attack, but I would like to move to stay somewhere close to Doc. I want to see him. He doesn't have to see me. I don't what I mean, but I want to see him.
Okay. You have a visual on him right now.
Yeah, but like in case if he would move further away. So I kind of want to be in a close distance.
Cool. You can probably move over to this tree here if you want.
Yeah. Yes?
Sure. You have the booming for that. That will be 1 action.
Okay. And I would try to focus my attention on Doc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because really, like, I don't care about the guards and I don't care about the bats, but I need some information from Doc, so I want to kind of suggest him to like run away. And I'm like, I want to approach him, but I am also like feeling like, I will get in a side of bats. I don't want their attention and the guards' attention. I'm thinking perhaps I can send him a small message.
Yeah, I think you have the action economy for that.
Yeah.
I believe the message spells only 1 action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so I would do that, but I wouldn't do anything else. Just sending him a message, and my message would be, we should run.
I imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if you had a different headcanon, but I imagine like you were like going like psst, psst, like trying to get the attention
Totally.
there, and then like you whisper something. You did not hear your own voice say it, but Doc gets the message.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
The message allows for a reply, doesn't it?
Can you throw up the description?
He
I think
does.
I actually have message as well.
The target can give a brief response as a reaction, so you have to use your reaction to do it. Or on a free action
Okay.
your next turn,
When is my next turn?
after the bats.
Alright, I'll reply after the bets.
Okay.
Just in case.
Okay.
Alright. Alright, so now that they're on him, Machias's first action is going to be drop his bow and pick up his sword. It looks like he's got a bastard sword. And he's going to yell out,
Freedom.
no, he's going to yell, "Don't worry, I got this, miss. Run for your life. And make sure to ditch that creepy halfling." As he dual-handedly swings at the bats and misses.
Pretty bad.
Dramatically.
Fuck shit, get bit.
Okay, that was one action.
Okay. All right.
Swing again, why not?
5 out. Come over here.
How is it even possible to only have a +2 to attack?
Yeah, he's a dex-based character. He just happens to have a sword.
Oh, I see.
Cool. So
Over here.
one action, draw the sword. Second action,
Second
strike.
action, attack. Third action, run.
Got it.
There you go.
Well, we are going to pursue you, and we are going to blood feast twice. Nom 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 nom.
Nom, nom, nom.
Go ahead and give me 2 reflex saves.
Incredible.
Absolutely awesome. The
Incredible.
Oof.
So go ahead, as this thing goes and you begin to get swarmed and you get picked at on your flesh, you take 2 piercing damage and you are bleeding right now. So you'll take 1 damage at the start of your turn.
all right.
This will take us to the other one, which is going to do the same thing to Mel, but 3 times. So we're just going to expedite this by rolling 3d4. You're going to take 8 piercing damage and go ahead and roll me 3 reflex saves. Okay. And you're going to take an ongoing 2 bleed damage. So these swarms begin to wrap around you as the people who were helping you, were with you, seem to be backing off away from this confrontation. And as you do this, they begin to peck and peck, and you can feel it bleeding at you. This is a minor form of torture, as it takes us to Doc.
How good does that swarm look that I hit?
The one that you hit is there's less than that swarm. Maybe out of the 30 or so that are there, maybe half of them are gone.
How do the guards look? Let's do a quick read of the situation.
I think they're still pretty healthy. Just a couple flesh wounds.
Doc will reply to the message. Not yet. Also, thanks for throwing me under the chariot or the carriage.
Okay.
And let's see. So another 2 actions to another lawful divine lance.
Okay.
At the same one as before.
This one perishes under your radiance flame. We'll get into the cinematic later, however you want to do it. But you have one more action left.
I don't think I have anything to spend one action on. I will, I guess use an action to draw my hand crossbow.
Got it. Hand crossbow is out. Go ahead and describe the kill.
So the kind of takes a moment to assess the situation, trying to discern exactly how helpful he can be in this situation, and ultimately deciding that the better nature of him would want to assist these guards instead of just running away. He unfolds another lance and takes a more careful aim before firing it right through the line of swarm, nailing just enough to make him disperse.
Okay.
Gives himself a small celebration.
Little halfling celebration. Small dance.
Little clench of the fist, like, yeah.
Got it. I didn't think that would work. Got it. Cool. One down. This will take us to Mel, whose swarm of bats is now on the ground, dead. What would you like to do, Mel?
Mel is going to take one stride action, so she's gonna roll forward into this swarm. And then she's going to swing with her hatchet and sword.
Got it.
That crit damage, though.
Nice. So, the first attack is it slashes through the vampiric swarm as many of them go down to it. There's still a couple left, but the majority is perished, defeated, murdered. One of those words.
Mm-hmm.
Annihilated.
Cool. Top of the round. Everyone, give me a perception check.
Where is my perception check?
Right side of the character sheet.
Oh, perceive. Okay.
Perceive, sorry. Doc and Misty. You get the visual of another person here. We have the bats. One of them is now perished. We have the two guards, or one guard and one scout-ish person, and then you guys. But in the distance, we see something, and it is a man in a cloak. But when you look at his face, all we're seeing is a skull in its place. On its back, it does seem to have a large weapon that seems to have a handle, a long handle, and a point coming right after. I think Doc will recognize this figure as the Grim Reaper.
Probably, yeah. Well, now it might be running time.
This will take us to Misty.
Well, if he doesn't want to run, that doesn't. Well, I mean, I still want, but I need him because I have questions. So I want to be in the position where I wouldn't be seen by guards, bats, or their thing. So I would try to perhaps hide, like, even more, like, behind the street here. Oh my god, I'm drawing. I'm sorry.
You can climb the tree.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if that would be even better, not to be seen, but I could still keep my eyes on Doc. That's what I would do then.
Okay. You want to take your full turn to get higher into the tree and hide?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
20.
Cool. Doc, go ahead and roll me a stealth or a perceive check against the stealth. Okay. Where'd she go? And we'll take us to Macias.
Okay. And he's still being swarmed, right?
Correct.
All right. So he's gonna.
Take 1 point of damage.
Yep. And he's gonna yell out, "Ah! Ah! Nothing but a flesh wound!" And he's gonna just spring like a wild man. So,
Hey, first attack is 21 for 8 damage, and first attack goes down as you clear out this wave in its entirety. Just one clean swoop gets the remaining. We'll say there's 10 of them. You're able to swoop, kill a handful, and the rest disperse. You're now on top of a group of bat corpses. And at this point, I think both of you will be able to see this figure in the distance, cloaked figure with a scythe on his back and a skull for a face. And we are out of combat, out of initiative. But Misty, give me another fortitude save. Good. Your right shoulder. Your wound on your right shoulder that seems healthier, enough where you're like physically able to like put your weight on it and
I'm sorry.
put your weight on it and climb up the tree. And with strength, as this reaper approaches, the mark begins to glow the bright white again, but instead of feeling weak, you actually feel kind of invigorated as this creature approaches. Now we are out of initiative, so I think I'll give Mel and Macias the first action. Not initiative, but whatever you want to do, seeing this figure coming towards you.
Mel is going to position herself protectively in front of Doc and where she saw Misty run but doesn't see her.
Mm-hmm.
And just prepare her weapons as this creature approaches. If he takes any hostile actions, she'll prepare an action to strike.
Cool. Weapon is not out. It is on his back, if that changes anything. Macias, you're up.
Is there any way, like a roll or something I can do to get rid of this bleeding that's happening to me, or
Medicine check.
medicine check?
There is a DC, but we won't worry about it. You can say you can staunch the wound. Find enough.
All right. So he's gonna tear off a bit of his tabard and staunch the wound as he starts moving back over this way. And he's going to turn to the self-proclaimed cleric and go, "All right, clearly you're what you say. After all, I don't know anyone else that could shoot glowing light. What is that? And can I have a bit of healing? Oh, and assuming the human was bad, and that's why you were over her and hurt her, where'd she go?"
I think she ran away. I am almost certain of it, in fact.
Grim Reaper's approaching.
I still have my bastard sword in my hand. Right, and that there. What is that?
An old friend, he says questioningly.
10 feet away?
And do I attack?
Could be fake.
5 feet away. Looks down.
Can I have heals?
Yeah, Doc will spend 3 actions to cast heal.
What's that do?
I actually don't have the spell written up. Luckily, I think I can just look in the compendium. Yep, there it is. Okay, cast time is 1 to 3 actions. Spending 3 actions is dispersing positive energy in a 30-foot emanation, targeting all living and undead creatures in the burst for 1d8 plus 8 for healing.
Roll it.
Nice. Unfortunately, I think Misty is just outside of that.
What does it do to undead creatures?
Oh no, she's there. Good.
I assume it harms undead creatures. For a d8.
Yeah. Anytime anytime there's positive energy blast like that, it heals living and hurts undead.
Got it.
So whereas it heals us for 12, it hurts him for 12.
The Grim Reaper can choose whether or not it takes positive damage. So I think it's going to choose not to take it. This is a pretty scary guy.
Yeah, when he doesn't flinch, Doc is like, okay, maybe it's runtime.
He looks towards Micaeus and seeing Doc, Mel, and looking towards the tree Misty is in, just kind of observing this situation. Looks down to Micaeus. He is pretty tall, about 7 feet tall, and if you are average height, you are shorter than that. And he goes,
"You aren't worthy."
He's going to grab his scythe.
All right.
102
wow.
damage.
Oh my god! I think he might be a little hurt.
Need a heal check.
Yeah, a little.
100 and what?
102. So, critical hits in this game means that if you roll 10 above their AC, it's an automatic critical hit. It's a critical success. So, critical hits are not just rolled on a nat 20. It is rolled on a higher thing. But I admit, this only happened because you're wearing a red tabard, and we will
That's awesome.
move on. He looks to you and goes,
Oh no, what happened to the blood splatter?
Where is the one with the mark?
Doc will point at anyone. He'll point at Mel.
What?
It's awesome.
I don't have a mark.
He walks over to Mel.
Oh no, you just
You aren't worthy.
Yep. Mel looks at Doc with his look of utter betrayal.
No.
She stares at him as she is cut down. Eyes burning into his skull.
Revealing the red undershirt.
Oh man.
Yeah, now I think it's time for Doc to run away at this point.
And he's going to look towards you.
You are chosen, but not by me. Where is the one with the mark?
And he's going to walk past you.
I'm gonna try and perceive which direction that person went.
Let's go ahead and give Misty an option to either cower or confidently fight this Grim Reaper.
So he passed by Doc after killing 2 guards, and he's approaching towards the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad. My arm feels better, much better, right?
Yes.
Okay. I try to get down from the tree, and I have my bow, right?
Your crossbow, I believe it is.
The crossbow, yes.
Right.
Crossbow,
Yes,
sorry,
you do have that.
crossbow. I would take it and aim at the man, but I would try to also move, withdraw from him further away. Not, as fast as I can while moving backwards, but just in case he can speed up or something, I would then want to shoot at him.
Okay. But making yourself visible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Doc, you can get a clear look at Misty.
Oh, maybe she didn't run away.
She's there.
Now that he didn't just get cut down, he has to watch this interaction.
You are chosen. I have a message for you.
No.
My mistress has chosen you. You are to go north to the Vagabond Forest. Do what you wish. I do not care. But I must purge these lands by those who are not worthy.
And he begins to walk towards the town.
I look at Doc.
Doc is just kind of like, well, seems a bit of ostentatity us meeting like this. Looks at the 2 dead guards and is like, we should probably leave.
I think so. Do you... sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you know who he was and what he was talking about?
Well, you pretty much just saw what he is or what he does, and I assume he is going to go do more of it.
Kill people. Yeah, but in general, what does he mean by North and the Chosen and...
I don't know, but I have a feeling that our answers lie north in the Vagabond Forest.
So you think we should go north?
You hear a scream from the town.
Well, I was going to say we should go back to town first, but perhaps leaving more immediately. I spent 2 silver today on a room I'm not going to use. What a shame.
The guard's coin purse is right there.
That's a good point. We gotta put those minimum wages to good use. Let's rifle through them, see what they got.
Okay. That was a joke, but not quite a joke as well. So you can go through their pockets. They do have a bastard sword, a hatchet, a short sword, a composite short bow, a composite longbow, a breastplate armor, studded leather armor, I think was the other one, as well as a combined total of 3 gold pieces.
Well, I will.
Also, a letter to that the guard was going to return home to his family in a week.
Dear
Which
love, I am so excited to be coming home soon. Unless, of course, I fall into some kind of danger, but what are the odds of that? Tell little Johnny I've got a new toy sword for him. Oh, and I got a raise. A whole gold piece. Love, Machias.
Huh. Yeah, he'll leave that letter.
Throw it into the water.
Touching. He flips us 1 gold coin to the not zombie. Says, you got a name there, Miss Judas, perhaps?
You can call me Misty.
Misty. Well, good to meet you, Misty. I'm Doc.
Good to meet you too, I guess.
Well, I suppose we should be getting on before that guy changes his mind on who's chosen for what.
Probably we definitely should, and you will have to tell me in more details about that moment when we've met.
Soon as I've had a moment to dissect that 30 seconds of time, I will tell you.
And we will fade to black here. All right. Welcome to the first session of Skald's Tale Eclipse. We have killed off our red shirts and find out what happens to the red shirts next week. Before we end, my name is Christopher Rondeau. I am the DM of this things. You can find my stuff here on TTRP Theater, or you can follow my website, rondocreator.com. And if any of you guys want to plug in any information, this would be the time to do it. I do know we have a podcast jumping around here if you want to plop that, or any other streams, or anything like that. Otherwise, we'll close out.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Biz. I run a tabletop podcast called Throwing Bones. We're currently playing Monster of the Week. You can find us on any podcasting platforms, pretty much.
Cool. All right.
Nothing really too much to say except, don't worry, Governor. I will return, says Machias.
A creature killed by the Grim Reaper can't be brought to life by any means short of divine intervention. Whoops. If you go down below, you'll see the schedule of everything at the TTRP Theater, including some cult games, a couple of D&D games, and you can see the full schedule down there. I do know we have a couple of shows coming out in the new year, and we are casting for one of them right now. So if you're interested in superheroes, you can come check that out. Otherwise, we will be back here next week to see where our adventures take us with the Eclipse and the dark. It was a bad outro, but there is an Eclipse, and we will close out now. See you next week.